Welcome to the Psych Central Show, where each episode presents an in-depth look at issues from the field of psychology and mental health, with host Gabe Howard and co-host Vincent M. Wales.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Psych Central Show. My name is Gabe Howard, and with me, as always, is Vincent M. Wales. Vin, say hi.
Hi. Was that okay? Did I need to do that again? Because
the wheels are off the bus in the beginning of the show rather than the end. But luckily, to hold it all together, we have a great guest, a young woman named Tanara Simpson. And I don't want to spoil her bio, so I'm going to let her tell us about herself. So, Tanara, please introduce yourself and welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name's Tanara. I'm from Michigan. I am a certified peer support specialist at a treatment clinic, and I work with Janssen. We have a very good relationship and in hopes of getting my story out there to inspire others to seek treatment and live a happy life.
And Tanara, what is that story?
Well, I suffer from schizophrenia. It all started around, I would say, about 2009. And I just was going through a lot, and I ended up having symptoms. And at first, I didn't know what those symptoms were trying to tell me. But eventually, I ended up seeking treatment, and I've been doing good ever since I found out what works for me and works for my body, and I'm doing great to this day. And I'm just a basic girl. I had a really mild childhood, and I did sports, and I went to high school, graduated from high school, did some college, and today, like I said previously, I am a certified peer support specialist at a treatment clinic, and everything's going good.
fantastic. Tanara, tell us a little bit about the symptoms that you mentioned. What kind of symptoms were they?
Well, at first, I started to isolate myself, and then that expanded into me not wanting to shower or put on clean clothes, and I started hearing voices, and they were very, very prominent, and I also started seeing certain things, and it just scared me, so I ended up having to find something, to help me cope, and it's just, everything was so dramatic for me. The voices were very, 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 very out of the ordinary for me. I've never known anything about, schizophrenia or any other mental illness, so everything was a big shock.
You say you were hearing voices. So was that the first symptom that you noticed, the hearing, the auditory hallucinations?
Actually, yes, because me isolating myself, that was nothing new. I was the only child, so I sort of did that type of thing already. But yes, the voices, and they were very strong. They were telling me to, hurt myself and hurt other people, and it frightened me because I've never been the type that, like hurting anyone. I've always been a very nice young lady. But, they were telling me to do all sorts of things, and it really frightened me real bad, and that just helped my isolation out.
Well, now, did you recognize that they were hallucinations, or did somebody help you out? Like, how did you come to realize that the voices weren't real?
I didn't know they weren't real at first. I thought, these things were really trying to prompt me to do certain things, and I didn't realize what they were until I went to the hospital, and they told me, you have schizophrenia. So that right there just was like an eye opener for me, because I didn't, like I said, I never knew anything about it. So that kind of made me do a little bit more research, and then I figured out, okay, the auditory and the visual hallucinations, they're part of the illness, and so I just got a little insight as I went along through my treatment journey.
Tanara, can you give me an example of what some of the visual hallucinations were?
I would see like things appear like dark shadows, or sometimes I would think I seen like a ghost, or sometimes I would think somebody was signaling something to me, like people out in the public, and it was just a lot of things, and I just didn't really know how to register them. So I kind of tried to ignore them, but they just kept happening, and I was like, man, something's going on, like real serious.
Wow. What was the turning point? Where was the moment where you went from being symptomatic to seeking help?
Well, you would think it would have came after my first hospitalization, but it didn't. It took for me to actually get in a bit of trouble and actually spend a couple nights in jail, and then I went to a hospital for a while, and that's when I met a very kind-hearted psychiatrist, and she actually gave me insight to things, and I learned some things while I was sitting in the hospital, and that just made me say, hey, I can have a life outside of this. I can do things, that I used to love doing. And so with her help and with the help of my support system, I actually started making positive choices and doing better and living better and trying to be more healthy and stuff. And it all contributed to how well I'm doing today.
That's incredible. One of the things that you said is while you were in the hospital, you learned some things. Can you give us an example of something that you learned?
First and foremost, I suffered from a lot of trauma, and they basically told me that was, one of the things working against me, the trauma. And they also introduced me to triggers, and I started understanding more about what was actually making this thing more prominent and making it happen more. And so once I identified the triggers, I was able to try to avoid those triggers and not keep going down the same path. And it also taught me a lot about, how to handle when I do hear the voices or anything like that. So it really equipped me with a lot of knowledge that I wouldn't have gained really unless I had been in that position.
So tell me, when you were diagnosed, that had to have been quite a shock. What was your process like when you were trying to deal with that?
Well, at first I was mainly embarrassed because my family really didn't have a lot of that. My great-grandfather, he was diagnosed with a mental illness. We're not sure which one he was diagnosed with, but it just made me feel odd because no one else in my family, I felt, could really relate to me because I was going through this. And it was a very scary time. I never knew if I would ever be able to come out of it and live a happy life again. I just felt very, very discouraged. But, eventually after I got all the information I started getting a gleam of hope. And one thing my grandmother told me, she said, you never know where this will take you. Like, don't be discouraged about it. And right there, that just helped me get better and helped me become motivated in order to be successful again.
That's great. On that note, we're going to step away for a moment to hear a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.com. Secure, convenient, and affordable online counseling. All counselors are licensed, accredited professionals. Anything you share is confidential. Schedule secure video or phone sessions, plus chat and text with your therapist whenever you feel it's needed. A month of online therapy often costs less than a single traditional face-to-face session. Go to BetterHelp.com/Psych Central and experience 7 days of free therapy to see if online counseling is right for you. BetterHelp.com/Psych Central.
Welcome back. We're here with Tanara Simpson. And Tanara, I wanted to ask you, what would you say is the biggest thing that's helped you in your recovery journey?
The biggest thing that helped me, I believe, it was my treatment team, like the nurses I encountered, the psychiatrists I encountered, and some of the people who, give me the clinical support. That was a big thing to help me. And then also my natural supports, they really helped me a lot. They never made me feel like I was any different, and they just helped me get past one of the most darkest parts of my life.
Well, we've talked a little bit about before diagnosis, and we've talked about your diagnosis, but how is life today? What are you up to? Are you working?
Yes, I'm still working. I'm still a certified peer support specialist. And actually what's cool is that I have my review from my job coming tomorrow. So I get to sit down with my boss and see how I'm doing. Last year, I got above company standard, and I was very, very proud of that. And also right now, with me working with Janssen, I have a video, and you can go to realschizophreniastories.com and view the video. And for every unique view, $1 is donated to Mental Health America. And I just would love if everybody could go and visit and share and just like everything. You never know who it might inspire. And that is what my main purpose is, to uplift and inspire. So basically, I'm just living life. I do have a boyfriend. And since you'll see in the video, some things are talked about in detail. And just to give people an update before you see the video, I have moved out. I have a wonderful boyfriend. We have a great relationship, and everything is going slightly well. I don't like to brag too much. I'm a humble being, so I'm just going to say everything is well.
Well, you are certainly inspirational. So let's talk about a couple of things. You first off, for our listeners, we'll have a link to the website that you just mentioned in the description of this program. So if you're driving, you don't need to, risk wrecking and writing it down on your arm. But tell us about that. Like how did this come to be? I mean, did Janssen pluck you off the street because they saw you walking, or how did you get involved in this? What was the connection there?
Well, actually, at the treatment center that I'm a part of right now, a doctor from California came in, and some people were talking to him about, a little bit about me. And me and him actually did some things together, and then he connected me to Janssen, and that's how we've been hooking up ever since. It's been great. It's been awesome. A very awesome experience. And I appreciate them so much because they work so hard. And I'm so grateful just for them and people like you, who are doing things out here to help get that stigma down some. So I really appreciate everyone.
Obviously, Vin and I believe that talking about mental health is really one of the best ways to educate people, to reduce the stigma surrounding it. We don't believe that people are stigmatizing people with mental illness because they're malicious or mean or evil. We believe that they just don't understand. They're uneducated and they don't know. And obviously, our mission and Psych Central's mission is to get as much information into the hands of the public as possible. And it's your mission too. So we're all peas in a pod here, so we can't thank you enough.
I just wanted to say it's overwhelmingly awesome that you guys actually are doing that, because, like you said, a lot of people don't understand it, and we need to have more mental health first aid classes and stuff for families and stuff. And, I'm working on, eventually, hopefully that's something I can really bring to the table, some of the things ideas I have about it. So, I mean, we're all just doing a great thing. We all should pat ourselves on the back.
We can spend the entire show talking about how overwhelmingly awesome we all are. And maybe for a future podcast, we will.
Hey! No, we won't. We will not.
But no, I understand exactly what you're saying. There needs to be a counterbalance to all of the negativity that's out there. When something bad happens, and it involves somebody living with mental illness, the media is very quick to pick up on that and report on it. But when something good happens, I always joke that when I give a speech about living well with bipolar disorder, the media doesn't show up. But if I snapped and started throwing cans at a convenience store window because of bipolar disorder, well, that would probably make the news. And that's sad because I do way more good than I've ever done bad, but
exactly.
it's not covered the same way. So kudos to you and kudos to you, Vin. We're just giving kudos to everybody. Kudos to our listeners. Woo!
Kudos to the listeners.
I've interrupted Vin now 3 times. He has the next question. Go ahead, buddy.
Sorry, man.
Oh, not your fault, Tanara. I'm going to blame the redhead here. So my question for you right now is, I'm sure there are some people out there who are going through situations that are similar to what you've experienced. What would you like to tell them?
I would just like to say, first and foremost, don't give up on yourself. Just, get in there, ask those tough questions to your treatment team, and find out what is going to work with you, and just try to look at it as a positive thing, because if we didn't have anybody with mental illness, then we wouldn't have anybody to understand what's going on, And I always question myself throughout my treatment, like, why is this happening to me? But the awesome part about it is that you are unique. You are worth a happy, successful, long-living life. Like, don't be wrapped up with statistics. Don't be wrapped up with that. And just, get out there and live and find out what it is that makes you happy and what makes you smile. And never give up on that. And I promise you, you will be okay. You will be fine. Just try to think positive. Everything is so negative. Try to find something positive to think about every day. And just do that until you're not doing anything but thinking positive. And I wish you all the best. And there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
That is incredible advice for anyone. Now, Tanara, we know that being a peer supporter and being a mental health advocate makes you happy. What is something completely away from all mental health, schizophrenia, advocacy, peer support? What's something that makes you happy that's not related to the mental health world?
I like getting out doing karaoke. I like to sing. I like writing music. I also like just chilling with family and doing girly things like shopping and getting my nails done, getting massages. Like, I just love enjoying just life, and I try to do different things, and I like traveling. Like, I just love just people. I like meeting people. Like, I can go somewhere and meet a dozen people, and I'll be so happy. Like, I'm not an introvert. I really put myself out there, and I just like being around happy, positive people most of all.
That sounds great. So what do you want to do next? What's on your agenda?
I really would like to be an ambassador for my job. They don't really have the position, but I've been talking to the owner, and I did put a bug in her ear about it. But if that doesn't happen, I'm not going to get discouraged. I just want to keep expanding with my peer support networking, and I want to start running more groups. Like, I'm starting a group Monday at my job, and hopefully that goes good so that can give me some experience. And I just want to perfect my craft as these days go by. But I take it one day at a time. I'm not trying to rush anything. And I really want to get into fashion. I really want to do that. I want to somehow make some small brand and get it out there and just keep expanding on it. So I got a few things to work on. I haven't started working on everything yet, but I got some ideas, and hopefully I'll stay steadfast with them and get it done.
Well, we're looking forward to whatever you do next. We are positive that it's going to be great. Tanara, thank you so much for being on the show. We really had a great time. You're a wonderful guest. You're an inspiring individual, and just listening to your voice makes me happy. So keep doing what you're doing. You're right. The world needs more good in it. It needs more positivity. So just keep being you.
Thank you, and I'm very, very excited for this opportunity. And I just, wish the best for the show and everything that you guys are all doing. And I'm just happy to be able to have people listen, and hopefully someone gets inspired by this, and I feel like I've done my job, my purpose here, to uplift and bring light to people that are in dark places.
You've done it. Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and remember, you can receive convenient, affordable, private online counseling anytime, anywhere. Visit BetterHelp.com now. And that's a wrap. We will see you next week on the Psych Central Show.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Psych Central Show. Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you found this podcast. We encourage you to share our show on social media and with friends and family. Previous episodes can be found at psychcentral.com/show. Psychcentral.com is the internet's oldest and largest independent mental health website. Psych Central is overseen by Dr. John Grohol, a mental health expert and one of the pioneering leaders in online mental health. Our host, Gabe Howard, is an award-winning writer and speaker who travels nationally. You can find more information on Gabe at gabehoward.com. Our co-host, Vincent M. Wales, is a trained suicide prevention crisis counselor and author of several award-winning speculative fiction novels. You can learn more about Vincent at vincentmwales.com. If you have feedback about the show, please email talkback@psychcentral.com.